What's going on, bad boys, bad girls, and my baddies beyond the binary? Folks, I hope you are doing well today, and welcome to Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton, the kickboxing and Muay Thai podcast covering all the latest news in the world of kickboxing and Muay Thai. Now, I know the latest news and happenings in the world of kickboxing and Muay Thai, I have not been around to cover. The latest fights in kickboxing and Muay Thai, I haven't been around much to cover. I even call the show Kick Weekly, and it's more like Kick Quarterly at this point. I think I've done like 2 shows in the last several months here, of which that's on me. I've just been busy doing life stuff, been traveling around different countries, different weddings here and there. I've traveled to several different countries, and I was been to several different events, and I was exhausted for a little while there and just trying to recover. Also started some new work recently. Now the website manager with Low Kick MMA and got everything up and running there, started a new podcast on that network. So we're very busy at this point. And folks, I massively appreciate you coming along with me on this journey because I couldn't have done it without you. All of you loyal listeners, I am forever grateful for you being here along with me on this journey. It's been amazing that maybe it is possible to make a career out of combat sports, whether it be kickboxing, MMA, Muay Thai, whatever it might be. It's just been a lifelong dream, and we are making it, and we're making it happen. And a big piece of that puzzle, a big, core piece of this is this show right here. So I haven't been doing it much. It is maybe the backbone of my career, and I'm not going to stop doing it. I love doing this show. It's absolutely awesome. And I love the fans. I love the listeners. Yeah, it's just absolutely awesome. And I feel like on this show, I can be quite personal as well. I can talk about some of my developmental stuff and what's going on in my life a little bit more. But let's get back to kickboxing here. So this show, what we're going to be talking about, while I've been away, I actually didn't miss a ton of fights. There have been some announcements, and we're going to talk about various bookings that are going on. We're going to be talking about some cancellations that are going on right now, some different speculations. And I'm going to end the show with the interview that I did with Artem Vakhitov. And the reason is I'm not releasing it as a standalone interview as I normally would. And the reason is because of the kind of conditions going into that interview as to what happened there. So I knew at this point, but it wasn't public, that Artem Vakhitov had signed with the UFC, and I even knew who his opponent was. And the team who booked the interview and the his manager, who's in the interview itself, I asked both of them, I know who his opponent is, and I know he's in the UFC. It's not public, but can we talk about it? And they said, no, we can't reveal anything. So we did the interview where all 3 of us, myself, Artem Vakhitov, and the manager, all knew that he had signed with the UFC, and we knew who his opponent was, but all 3 of us had to pretend that we didn't know, which is fine. Like, we've done interviews where we all know a secret. That's fine. That's just part of the industry, not a big deal. But when the interview ended, 3 days later, they announced that he's in the UFC and who he's fighting. So there's no point in releasing that interview as a standalone because the information in it may not be overly useful. But we do talk about him trying to fight Alex Pereira, adjusting the high guard from kickboxing to MMA. We talk about a few other things as well. Did he get offers from Glory, or did he get offers from One Championship, or did he get offers from KSW or whatever? There was a lot of things that we did talk about like that there is still value in it. So at the end of the show, that will be the interview. But let's talk about the news that is going on right now. Antonio Plazibat is out of his fight against Levi Rigters. This was booked for later this year, live from Croatia. And it was a really great fight. That is such a good booking, that it's such a good puzzle piece for that heavyweight division of a gentleman who is highly ranked, former booked to be a contender, and it just didn't happen. K1 champion, coming off of an injury. He's stepping back in against the guy who was just in the finals of the heavyweight tournament. So whoever wins this fight would likely jump directly into a title shot. And it's just a great place to put Antonio Plazibat, who has been out for so long due to a severe injury. Unfortunately, he is out again due to injury, and it's the same injury over and over again, and it just absolutely sucks. And he said it himself that it has to do a lot with pain tolerance, that he should have known that was hurting him, and he's not getting better. But instead, he kept training on it and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So listening to the doctor's orders, it is a severe injury. There's no way that you can just fight through it or anything like that or train through it. But yeah, I texted Antonio Plazibat the other day and I said, just like, get better. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Just health first. It's that sort of stuff. So Antonio Plazibat and I still talk sometimes. I have volunteered to take the fight against Levi Rigters. I'm about 50 kilograms. I'm not tall. I'm actually pretty small even for my I have a pretty low weight even for my height. I'll take the fight, guys. Like you need someone in Croatia. Here I am. I mean, we can call it an exhibition because we're not getting that cleared by any athletic commission. And let me get knocked out for $20 or whatever. I'll, cover my hotel and we're talking. We don't know who Levi Rigters is going to fight. Jamal Ben Sadiq continues to put his hand up and say, I want to fight and I want to fight in glory. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why he probably shouldn't. I'm not sure if he can leave the country. I'm not sure if he can get cleared to fight anywhere in Europe due to the ongoing criminal charges that he has against him. Like he has a date in court later this year for, I think, 2 different things that's going on with him. Not only that, but he had surgery for cancer earlier this year. So it's very easy to put up your hand and say, yeah, I want that fight, knowing that you probably will never get that fight for various reasons. But yeah, I'm not sure if he can leave the country in all honesty, but other people will know more about it. But man, I have to say, Jamal Ben Sadiq, so cool. This guy is like, he's like a cartoon villain guy. Like, could he be any cooler? This guy had recovered from cancer earlier this year. And then at the same time that he is trying to be a kickboxing world champion, he is an underground kingpin of the crime syndicate. Oh, he's so cool. He's everything I want to be. And he's like a giant man. Oh, he's just so cool. Anyway, enough about that. It's not going to be Jamal Ben Sadiq stepping in to face Levi Rigters later this year. They were booked in the past, but I think it fell through for various reasons. It won't be Rico. I have suspected that it will be Nabil Kahab. My understanding is that he is out due to various injuries and it isn't going to be active for the next little while here. But there is lots of people at heavyweight. Bahram Rajabzadeh has put his hand up, but he has a pretty huge fight upcoming. Maybe if he gets out without any injuries, doing that rematch would be a ton of fun. Both guys would come in fresh rather than having a fight earlier that night, and we can really put to bed whether that was a controversial ending or not. And yeah, of course, I will always say yes to a Bahram Rajabzadeh fight, but I think sorting out the heavyweight division might be better. I don't know. If Bahram wins against Levi, then you can put him in a match against Rico, and I don't know. That's just fun. So we'll see what happens. But that is going to be later this year. I was expecting to get news on this yesterday about who they might book him against, but we didn't hear anything. But yeah, Jamal Ben Sadiq has really very much put his hand up and said that he's ready. Whether or not that happens, I mean, I wouldn't count on that personally. But I would love to see it. Why not? Get Jamal Ben Sadiq right back into the mix right away here. But again, I'm not sure if he can legally do that. So just a few weeks ago, we had the next fight announced for Rodtang Jitwangdong, that he is going to be fighting Jacob Smith later this year. This will be, I believe, in the USA. Yeah, it's going to be 169, and feel like kickboxing promoters must be all on the same drug, or all on the same, like, is there something in the water for every kickboxing promoter? Because being a fan of kickboxing and Muay Thai, half of it is watching fights and the other half is complaining about promoters. And look, Glory's had a really good 2 years. I agree with that. They've really turned corner here, but like they had a cool reality show. That was great. That was Brandon Catino's idea. They now have a promoter. That was Brandon Catino's idea. He had all those ideas first, and then Glory said, oh, wow, great idea. Like, they didn't think of it on their own. Brandon Catino had both of those ideas, and now they're really pushing forward on that. But it was so that Glory has really turned a corner. The one championship matchmakers maybe are, when it comes to kickboxing, not getting much better. So they booked him against Jacob Smith, and these two have fought a few years ago. And since then, Jacob Smith has not won a fight, so now he will get a title shot against Rodtang. Already, that's a pretty weird thing to do. Their first meeting was not particularly close. That was a dominant win for Rodtang. It was actually one of his most dominant wins in the division. And look, I like Jacob Smith. I've interviewed the man before. I've spoken to the man several times before. He is super duper cool. And sorry, I just got a text from Antonio Plazibat. I'm going to listen to it live on air. I don't know what it is, but I said I'm willing to step into the fight. He said,
bro chose violence.
I said I'm willing to fight Levi Rigters. Antonio Plazibat said, bro chose violence. That's great. Look at that. Live on air, we're getting texts from Mr. Plazibat. Great stuff. So yeah, Rodtang is booked against Jacob Smith. Yeah, I wouldn't have booked that fight, especially because in Rodtang's weight class, there was a lot of really good contenders who have very impressive wins or on impressive win streaks in the Lumpini Stadium. Not only that, but Rodtang has struggled a little bit with his weight, so he can go up in weight and fight in the higher weight class. Not only can he do Muay Thai, but he can also do kickboxing. So 2 weight classes, 2 sports. So he essentially has 4 divisions where he can pick the top ranked guys across 4 divisions and get really cool and interesting fights across 4 different divisions. And they chose a guy that he already beat several years ago in a fight that wasn't close. And the guy hasn't really got a win in a while. So yeah, people complained about this fight. And the thing is it's very obvious what you want to do as a promoter. That you have some people who sell tickets and are big names and you want to give them favorable matchups. And all promoters do it. The thing is with all combat sports, you want to set up your guys to win without fixing the fights. And if you give them good if you match them well, you don't need to fix fights, of course. But you don't want to make it obvious. When you do this, it's very obvious that you're just trying to get your guy a win, especially because his last few fights as well, like Jito Yibu and people like this, they're letdowns. You want to see your guys go to war, have these amazing, amazing fights and fight the best of the division and really put on an incredible legacy. And what Rodtang was doing was putting together an incredible legacy that maybe one day he would be in the conversation for being the greatest of all time in Muay Thai. I'm not saying he would have been, but he would have been in the conversation. But now with these fights, you're not adding anything to his legacy other than, this guy needed a win. So we booked him this fight. But also, to make things even odder, Takeru was booked. And he was booked against Black Panther. And this fight is going down in Lumpini Stadium. This is coming up on September 27th. Now, Black Panther has never fought under kickboxing rules before, but he does have a couple of wins in Muay Thai in one championship. And I'm happy to see Takeru Sagawa, the former K1 champion, K1 division champion, and K1 multi-division champion, defended all of his titles, and K1 Grand Prix champion multiple times over across different weight classes. I'm happy to see him back and actively competing. But this is what I was talking about. Like, are promoters drinking different water than the rest of us? Because they booked him in Lumpini Stadium, which I think is only 3,000 seats or something like that. Takeru booked out the Tokyo Dome. Did you sign him to promote him in Thailand? Like, if you signed Takeru, a megastar in Japan, wouldn't you want to use him? Why else would you sign him if not to use him in Japan? That's what I mean. You guys okay? You guys need help? I don't know what to say of why book him? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Put him in Lumpini Stadium so he can sell out 3,000 seats when man. But also, okay, and let's get back to it again. Black Panther, that's a fun fight, great fight. Probably Takeru gets back on his feet, gets a nice little win here. It doesn't add a huge feather in his cap or anything like that. It won't do it. It won't change his legacy. Beating Black Panther, it won't. That's not the best win of his career. So it's a cute little fight to get him back on his feet, sure. But you booked Rodtang and Takeru. I've seen the numbers on Google. You can look up what's trending. People want to see what is doing numbers is Takeru versus Rodtang. Even at this point, people still want to see Takeru versus Rodtang. It does numbers on Google. They were both booked within a few weeks of each other, but not against one another. Bro, what is going on here? Just talking about kickboxing promoters. I just want to sit here and talk about how cool the fights are, but we're not getting super cool fights. Bros. I don't know, guys. Also, but yeah, you also have it booked was Hiroki Akimoto. The former champion will take on Ilias Enahashi, the former champion. Great fight. Absolutely fantastic fight. Love that fight. Bantamweight kickboxing bout between 2 former champions there. Ilias Enahashi is tremendously, tremendously talented. He's fast. He did really well against Superlek. Hiroki Akimoto is always down for a major, major fight. Kyokushin karate background, a very entertaining fighter, and a highly skilled former champion as well. Great to see. That is an awesome fight. I can't wait to break that one down in the coming weeks here, and that's going to be September 27th. One Friday Fights 81, but yes, absolutely awesome to see. Love it. Good stuff right there. One thing that I did really like to see is that Glory had signed 2 fighters recently. Sorry, I was mean to Glory earlier. I apologize already. I'm sorry. I changed my mind. One thing that I'm doing on this show now to save me time, because it takes a long time to make this show, is that I'm going to be doing less editing. So if I say a bunch of things that I regret later, it's probably just going to stay in the cut now. I used to cut that stuff out of me complaining about stuff or having insider knowledge, and I would cut it out. But now I'm just going to let it go. So they had signed the K1 champion Miloš. Oh man, I can't just say it. I'm so sorry. Miloš, who just won the K1 title for Eastern Europe. And what K1 was trying to do is have tournaments in the USA, Brazil, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Japan, and then you have the former champion from last year, Lucy. So you'd have all these tournaments where the winners from each region around the world would then compete in the year-end tournament in December in Tokyo, and that was going to be the big year-end tournament. And that's a really cool idea. So Western Europe, for example, was won by Rius Brunedel, who is absolutely awesome, super talented guy, won Road to One in the past, and then Glory signed him, which is super cool. Eastern Europe was won by Miloš from Serbia, who's a really talented kickboxer, and I believe a mechanical engineer or something like that before he got into kickboxing. Super cool stuff. Really, he did want to be a football player. But I think he competed for a championship in Senshi and won a bunch of stuff by knockout. And then he competed in the K1 tournament and won 2 out of the 3 fights that night via knockout, and including a leg kick TKO in the finals, which is really, really cool. So he had punched his ticket to compete in the big K1 Grand Prix at the end of the year, maybe face Lucy. But instead, he was signed by Glory Kickboxing. And that is absolutely awesome. I like to see them compete. I like to see them sign, competitive talents and stay very competitive and essentially make it more of a competition. And he's going to be making his promotional debut in the light heavyweight division, Glory 95 in Croatia, live from Zagreb. That's going to be on September 21st. Absolutely awesome to see. I'm really excited for that one. And that light heavyweight division is so good with Bahram Rajabzada and Tariq Kababez and Donegi Abina and Sergey Masloboyev. What an awesome, awesome division. So now you're going to put in a former K1 champion in that division is super cool to see. I am genuinely so excited for that. I think that is absolutely awesome. And not only that, but Arian Sadiković has now been signed by Glory as well, and he's going to compete in the welterweight division. And again, the welterweight division is super, super good. So Arian Sadiković had fought Rekin Ursel in one championship for the kickboxing title and had one of the best fights of the year and one of the best kickboxing fights of all time. It was an incredibly back and forth, entertaining fight, and then one had released him. So now Glory adds Arian Sadiković to 170, and 170 has awesome fighters. We're talking about Jay Overmere and Jamie Bates and Chico Kwasi, and we're talking about Andy Semelier, and we're talking about Tyjani Beztati now in that division. Come on. And you add Arian Sadiković to the mix. I'm so excited. That is so cool. And again, it's great to see them stay competitive, signing really great talent like that. Arian Sadiković is a super entertaining guy. Make sure to check out his fights if you haven't seen them already. But yeah, absolutely cannot wait to see both of those fighters mix it up at 170 and 205 pounds. All right, so Tyjani Beztati, as aforementioned, the aforementioned Tyjani, but that's the stuff that I would usually edit out. I would change how I talked about the sentence. The aforementioned Tyjani Beztati has been booked for the welterweight crown against Chico Kwasi. He will try to make history as being a 2-division champion in Glory. The only person who has done that before to hold simultaneous titles was Alex Pereira. You also have other people have held 2 titles, but not at the same time in Glory. So that is absolutely awesome. Chico Kwasi, of course, is coming off of the knockout victory against Andy Semelier, in which he was really able to use his size advantage, walk him down, mix in heavy kicks and punches, and really shut down the game of Andy Semelier using his size. Just a few weeks ago, we had Tyjani Beztati making his debut at welterweight at 170 and was able to get a unanimous decision victory against the former champion Andy Semelier. And that is super cool. That is so exciting to see. And it was a great fight as well. I could watch Tyjani Beztati and Andy Semelier throw down a bunch more times. And you know what? Luckily for us, we might get to see it down the line as well. But what a great technical matchup that was. We're talking about double jabs into crosses, trading in the pocket, entering and exiting off kicks, entering and exiting off of different angles to take the center. Absolutely awesome stuff. Amazing to see. I loved watching that matchup, and I would watch it 10 more times if given the opportunity. But now Tyjani Beztati, talking to him in the past, he said, I never walked around at that weight class. I don't like to cut much weight to make 155. So for him to make 170, he's had to add on a lot of weight, but it seems like that speed is still there, and that is great to see. But he's going to need all of that strength when he fights Chico Kwasi. Chico Kwasi is big for 170. He's strong. He doesn't get rattled by punches or kicks very easily. He's tough as nails, and it's going to be and he's fast as well. It's going to be a really tough fight for Tyjani Beztati. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it done. And the thing is, I am the most high on Tyjani Beztati right now than I ever have been before. This man's talent continues to grow, continues to get better. I mean, look at his past wins and how well those have aged. Those wins have aged really, really well at this point. And he looks better now because of the people he beat went on to have major success. And then he goes and beats Andy Semelier and looks amazing doing it. It's not a sloppy, messy fight. It is a technical matchup, and he beat him where Andy Semelier was strongest. And it was awesome to see. So I am the highest on Tyjani Beztati that I have ever been. Rank him on the pound for pound list already. But I don't think he beats Chico Kwasi. That is a tough fight. That is a behemoth. That is a powerful striker. That is a person who is so tough to break into his guard. He has such heavy, heavy kicks. He has speed. He mixes high and low so well. Man, this is what makes it so exciting though. 170 is so good. And I hope after that matchup, they do book a Grand Prix directly after because of how good that division is. I could watch all these guys, throw their names in a hat, any of them at 170. It's a super, super exciting division. Arian Sadiković is there now as well. Chef's kiss on that. We also want to talk about Rico. Verhoeven has called out to Turki Al-Sheikh, who is the promoter in Saudi Arabia, who has been putting on, he's one of the leaders in Saudi Arabia who is behind Riyadh season. And Riyadh season has put together events with various football teams, with WWE wrestling, with F1, with golf. But they've really also taken a likening to combat sports. So they've worked with the PFL in MMA. They've worked with the UFC in MMA. They're sponsoring events all around the world in MMA. And they're also putting on blockbuster boxing events with crossover fighters like Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua. I think if you're listening to the show, I don't need to explain what Riyadh season is. If you follow sports, you know what I'm talking about. Rico Verhoeven has reached out to these people and said, let's add kickboxing to the mix. Great idea. Why not? That is absolutely awesome to see. And I would love to see, if you can sign, like Saudi Arabia has enough money to make these big heavyweight divisions. Like imagine a Lucy, a Rico Verhoeven, and, there's so many different options of what you can do when you're throwing money and have the ability to cross promotion. I think this would be absolutely awesome. I'd like them to do it at 155 pounds. Get all the lightweights from One, get all the lightweights from Glory, get all the lightweights from WLF, get all the lightweights from K1. Absolutely awesome. That would be super cool to see. But yeah, I think if they were to do something like that, it would be very much heavyweight focused in Riyadh season. And maybe they could do a mixed event, speaking to the PFL, they are very open to doing cross promotion with companies like that because they don't really think of Glory as competition. They're in different markets. Even in the European scene, they're kind of in different markets, but it's also a rising tide. It raises all ships. So, you got Glory supporting combat sports in Europe. That's probably great for the PFL Europe as well. So would they be willing to put up some of their heavyweights against Glory's heavyweights? Yeah, you can do a crossover event with those two. I think it would be no issue at all. I think both organizations would be very receptive to something like that. So there are tons and tons of options, but I think if you're going to do it, it needs to be now when you have a monolith and a mega star like Rico Verhoeven. In 2 years, if he retires and you don't have those mega stars there anymore, then that's not going to probably work. Now is a good time to put that hard sell on it. So yeah, hopefully something comes of it. I would love to see that. I've traveled down to Saudi Arabia with the PFL before, and I'm probably going to cover their events in the future, wherever in the world the PFL chooses to. I think they have one in Glasgow, so I'll probably head over for that. And then we'll see where else they go. If they want to do something in Cameroon or wherever, I'll probably be there. Also, make sure to check out Mohammed Estath, Rambo. He just got a major victory in a stadium in Muay Thai in Bangkok. He was a Kuwaiti national champion in kick fighting and has an incredibly interesting story as well of having a dream, being inspired, like so many of us, by kickboxing, by the K1 Max Championships, being inspired by how cool these belts are. So he became a national champion in Kuwait and funded his dreams out of his own pocket and worked for it to go compete in Thailand because this is his dream here. So now he's in Thailand fighting on the stadium scene, and he earned a first round, sorry, not a first round, but he earned a knockout victory competing here. And it's absolutely awesome to see. Massive congratulations to Rambo. Keep your eye on this man. He's absolutely the coolest. I'm going to put the links down below for his Instagram. You can follow along with his career. But yeah, massive congratulations. Just absolutely incredible work, especially with the elbows. Everything overall. He came to the fight very tactical, came to the fight very intelligent, was patient. I think a lot of people, like myself, would get very nervous fighting first time in the stadium scene in Thailand. But yeah, Rambo passed that test with flying colors, and my God, absolutely awesome to see. Huge congratulations. And yeah, let's watch the rest here. Death by elbows here. Like, this is super cool to see. Super great defense, countering back, working against your opponent, cornering him. Oh my God, that's brutal. That is such a good knockout here. Yeah, he leaned against the ropes to try to stay standing, so you know it's over. Oh, no glove touch. Attacks with elbows again. Tries to counter off, but come on, you're against the ropes. You're falling over. Rambo's got him. This is no problem here. Yep. Come on. It's done at this point. He's got nothing. Look at this beautiful victory here by Rambo. Absolutely awesome to see. He is flat down. That's what you get. Someone offers to touch gloves and you kick him in the leg. Absolutely incredible to see. Huge congratulations here. Living the dream. Working hard to accomplish his dream. And so should you. So anyway, let's talk to Artem Vakhitov now, who we now know will be debuting in the UFC. We know who he's fighting against. And when I interviewed him, I knew, he knew, the manager knew. We weren't allowed to talk about it. And then a few days later, they announced it publicly. So anyway, here is that interview, folks. And all right, folks, we are joined by Artem Vakhitov. Artem Vakhitov, appreciate you joining us. Where in the world are you right now, by the way?
Артем, мы очень рады, что ты к нам присоединился. Где ты сейчас находишься, расскажи.
Андрюх, плохо слышно что-то, ну так, знаешь.
Артем, очень рады, что ты присоединился к нам. Где ты сейчас находишься, скажи.
Взаимно, спасибо, очень приятно. Сейчас я нахожусь в Майами прохожу сборы небольшие на месяц, приехали сюда, тренировочный процесс идет полным ходом.
I'm currently in Miami now, so it's not so big, but my current camp. So doing some exercises here, doing some camp here, so everything going well, all fine.
Oh, absolutely. No, he's down in Artem, you're in Kill Cliff FC. We also saw you training. Are you working with Henry Cejudo as well?
Мы сейчас видим, что ты находишься в Kill Cliff. Ты подскажи, ты также работаешь с Генри Сихудо?
Ты про Сихудо говоришь, с Генри Сихудо?
Да.
Ага. Что-то плохо говорю, слышно. Да, сейчас я нахожусь в Kill Cliff. Нет, с Генри Сихудо мы не работаем, мы просто пока общаемся. Он зовет на сборы, тоже пройти сбор вместе с ним. Но пока сейчас я нахожусь в этом зале, хочу закончить тренировочный сбор, а там уже будет видно дальше.
No, we are not working, not training with Henry Cejudo. I'm currently in Kill Cliff gym. I'm here right now. So yes, he called me to train with him a little bit, but currently I'm here in Kill Cliff, so I'm doing some job here now.
Perfect. All right, good to hear. Now, the fans also had a lot of questions. I talked to the community, but the question that came up the most was that, are you going to be making your UFC debut upcoming on Dana White's Contender Series sometime this year?
Что я слышал, что, возможно, ты подерешься в этом году в UFC и, возможно, Dana White Contender Series в этом году. Что можешь сказать по этому поводу?
Ну, сейчас все на стадии общения, да, есть хорошие предложения с разных организаций. Ну, как бы с UFC общаемся, и в ближайшее время, я думаю, вы получите всю информацию. Сейчас я сфокусирован на тренировочном процессе. Есть менеджеры, которые, ну, вот Андрей, менеджер, общается по этому поводу и всю информацию мне скажет.
I think everything will come official very soon. We got some offers from few organizations, and everything will come officially very soon. And my management team in touch with this kind of questions. And I'm mostly focusing now for my training camp. That's it.
Hey, that is great to hear as well. Now, I know a few years ago, I want to say 2022, you folks were talking to One Championship. What was the discussion with One like?
Я помню, также были переговоры с One Championship. Первые об этом новости появились в 2022 году. На самом деле, One Championship тоже были в их числе.
Что последнее, на самом деле, что?
На самом деле так, что One Championship тоже были в их числе, в числе переговоров. С кем?
Ну да, и One Champions, и PFL, и UFC, все крупные там организации, мы общались, общаемся, на связи, находимся. Есть предложения, но пока это все в стадии разговоров, да, и сейчас я говорю, именно сфокусирован на тренировочном процессе, хочу не отвлекаться, тренируемся по 2 тренировки и оттачиваем свои навыки.
Yes, that's true. One Championship also was in list and negotiations with all the huge organizations as the PFL, ONE FC, and UFC. But as I said before, now I'm focusing on my camp, so I just want to continue it.
All right. That was a good answer. That was a good, safe answer there. But so I wanted to ask as well, the fans wanted to know, how is it adjusting the high guard style that, you've had your entire life, adjusting that high guard style for MMA, where it's a very different game, having to worry about things like takedowns?
До этого, значит, тебе постоянно приходилось защищаться в позиции высокой защиты рук, но это не совсем подходит для работы в ММА. Как ты планируешь с этим справиться? И он изображает, изображает, что да, руки.
Я понял. Да, конечно, здесь немножко другие моменты вот эти в защите, что нельзя стоять в глухой защите, как можно позволить себе там в кикбоксинге, в тайском боксе, благодаря большим перчаткам. И моим стилем я, в принципе, себя чувствую хорошо. Это передвижение на ногах, дальняя дистанция и стараться не допускать моментов, чтобы били по тебе в глухой защите. Поэтому все это работает и отрабатывается. Конечно, есть сложности, но ничего, мы справляемся.
Yes, for sure. With big gloves, I could use my deep defense, deep protections by using the big gloves. For sure, it is different with MMA gloves, but because of my style, because of a lot of movements, because of a lot of footwork, I could feel myself more comfortable. So, and do not think that somehow it will be bad for me. This kind of defense and protection because of different gloves.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's really good to hear. Now, Alex Pereira is well aware that you are coming after him, and he has said, "Be careful, you are lost." How do you respond to him saying to us, watch your back,
Значит, Алекс Перейра сказал, что ты проиграл. То есть как ты можешь ответить ему?
Алекс Перейра много что говорил, и, не знаю, все видели посмотреть первый поединок, второй я пересматривал вот не так давно с ребятами, которые с ММА бойцами, все видели, что первый поединок ему просто подарили, второй выиграл я. Ну, я сейчас считаю, что эти два боя за мной, и ну, даже это либо ошибка судейская в первом поединке, но во втором, начиная с конца второго раунда, третий, четвертый, пятый раунд, я уверенно выиграл. И поэтому без проблем, ну, как бы, если кто хочет, может пересмотреть эти бои и посчитать очки.
Yes, Alex Pereira, he told a lot of things already. But you know, honestly, we even watched just some time ago with my friends, with guys from MMA, these both fights, and clearly I won both of them. I really could not recognize, could not understand what it was exactly. Mistake of judgment in the first fight, or maybe just a gift to Alex. Yeah, and the second fight I clearly won as well. If you could see from the end of the second round, step by step and round by round, I just won, and that's it. So if someone want to check it again, just watch again, and you can count all the numbers again, round by round, and all the scores. I don't think so will be any changes in this scoring.
Well, yeah, that was like one of the odd things. The first fight, I thought Artem had won quite clearly. The second fight was a lot closer, but Artem got the nod in that one. I mean, the way that these two, Artem and Alex Pereira, fight, they make for a very interesting clash, and we're likely to see it in the UFC. But I'm just going to play a little bit of the fight here. And I just want to know from Artem's perspective, this is the second fight here. What do you remember? What do you recall? Based on what we're seeing here, how do you feel watching this?
Артем, первый бой выглядел, конечно же, более выигрышным, более уверенно выигранным, нежели даже второй. Но вот сейчас мы просматриваем второй бой, некоторые моменты из него. Вообще, какие у тебя были ощущения, что ты помнишь из этих боев и из этого боя конкретно?
Ну, если честно, по ощущениям, как бы не могу сейчас передать, какие эмоции были, да. Была задача поставлена победить, и мы делали свою работу. Еще первый бой, ну, может быть, был поинтереснее, да, в мою пользу, но все удары, которые он наносил, это были в основном по защите. Это, так как это кикбоксинг, здесь нужен акцент и точные попадания. Еще тем более сняли балл с него, тут как бы без вариантов. А ощущения, ну, знаю, что в углу там тренер, команда, все говорили, что нужно делать, и я как бы соблюдал это все в бою.
Very difficult just to transferring now any emotions which was in the past, but as I remember, I've done my job well, and all the tasks from my coach and from my team, I did it exactly. And if you could compare any movements in kickboxing, you see that a lot of his punches just went to my protection, to defense. You know, it's kickboxing, and it's like big gloves, as I told before, and mostly all the punches, all the hits were in protection. And you know, we have to follow two rules that could see that we are focusing on the real hits, real punches, which are aiming to the aim. So, and exactly going there. From the corner, what could I remember? I remember that my coach and team clearly told me any kind of things which I just need to do and just follow it. I was following it, and that's it. So why might be my feelings was as a win.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thanks for helping break that down a little bit. Let's say a fight in the UFC, is it just going to be a kickboxing match with smaller gloves, or do you expect a fight with Alex Pereira in MMA to be quite more grappling focused? Do you imagine?
Как ты думаешь, если этот бой случится все-таки с Алексом, это будет все-таки кикбоксинг в ММА перчатках, или, возможно, это будет какая-то некая работа, там, грэпплинг и что-то связано с этим?
Ну, не, я уверен, что не будет никакого грэпплинга. Максимум, что это может быть, это клинч, там, тайский, каких-то тейкдаунов или проходов. Я думаю, этого такого не может быть. Если случится этот бой, то, я думаю, этот бой будет интересен всем зрителям, ну, так как он будет проходить только в стойке.
I don't think so that it will be really some stuff with grappling. The maximum what it could be, it is Muay Thai clinching as maximum. And for sure, if that fight will happen, everybody will like it only if it will be in the strike position and strike force and in this kind of style.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's absolutely awesome. Appreciate all that. Hey, just as well, did you watch Donegi Abina in the light heavyweight Grand Prix, or what did you think of Donegi Abina's, like, he's had quite a career resurgence, but mainly did you see him in the Grand Prix?
Смотрел ли ты Донеги Абена, как выступил в Гран-при Light Heavyweight в последнем турнире? Как он тебе вообще?
Ну, я посмотрел, да, частично моменты, как бы полный эфир не смотрел. Видел, что он победил и, ну, достаточно, ну, неплохо отбоксировал в своем стиле, хорошо готов был. Ну, молодец, шел к этому и пришел все-таки к титулу. Ну, посмотрим, как будет дальше развиваться, потому что сейчас у них там очень хорошая конкуренция.
Yes, I saw just a part of event, not fully. And I'm very glad about Donegi because he did a great job, and for sure he made a good performance. And finally, he came where he just wanted to come. He got a title, Grand Prix title. So he done very well in this event, and they have a very competitive weight right now. So let's see what's going on in the future.
No, absolutely. And then last question for you here. When did you start playing piano? Like you are absolutely incredible at piano. Are you still actively practicing? But yeah, tell me a little bit more about being a classically trained pianist.
Когда ты начал играть на фортепиано, пианино, ты до сих пор в этом практикуешься? Я как бы хотел бы об этом узнать, как проходит.
Да, я начал, ну, с 8 лет, это когда, можно сказать, в обычную школу начал ходить, тогда и музыкально, ну, 5 лет отучился в музыкальной школе, и сейчас вспоминаю, с удовольствием играю, но сейчас немножко перешел на новый инструмент, это на гитару, и практикую игру на гитаре и фортепиано, поэтому музыка всегда со мной.
I started playing piano from when I started my school, so it's almost from the 8 years old, and then still practicing with that. But now I just joined the new thing is guitar, so now I'm practicing both, and so the music every time with me.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy Miami. Enjoy training out there. And we are looking forward to seeing. Hey, appreciate that, man. Appreciate seeing what's next for you. But let me ask you one last question here. One last question. Greatest of all time, Georges St-Pierre or Fedor Emelianenko?
Лучше всех времен, да. Джордж Сен-Пьер или Федор Емельяненко?
Ну, естественно, Федор Емельяненко, я другого варианта не могу сказать, потому что для нас Федор это, ну, легенда, для всего мира, я думаю, это легендарный боец, легендарный человек.
Yes, for sure, Fedor Emelianenko is the greatest person, and for us, is a great champ and number one.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and best of luck upcoming,
Thank you.
folks.
Thank you so much.
Man, we are just powering through these topics today. I thought this would take a lot longer. I just looked at the clock. I'm so sorry. I thought this would take almost an hour to talk about. Well, let's talk about self-care then. We've got time. I covered everything happening in the last few weeks of kickboxing. Tyjani Beztati is challenging for a title. Super cool. His win against Andy Semelier was great. Rico Verhoeven wants to fight in Saudi Arabia with Riyadh season. Why not? Great stuff. Love to see it. Antonio Plazibat is unfortunately out of his fight and told me, he's giving me the blessing. I'm in. I'm ready to go, guys. Rodtang's the team behind him. Just, my God, terrible matchmaking. Takeru. The matchmaking, not great either, but why wouldn't you put him in Japan? And I don't know. Every really good idea that a promoter has ever had in history is done by Brandon Coutinho first. Just want to say that. Chico Kwasi versus Tyjani. Yeah, I mean, and the Glory had signed Miloš and Arian Sadiković, which are both absolutely awesome matchups. That is super cool to see. This is going to be really, really great stuff here in the next little while. And we will see what happens. Next week, of course, when I sit down, we'll be able to talk a little bit of kickboxing action because there's actually some stuff going on that weekend that I really want to talk about, like the Good Rise events and some other stuff going on there. But yeah, let's do the interview. Let's do the interview with Artem Vakhitov in just a minute here. But first, let's talk about some self-care. One thing that with men, it's so difficult for us to really start caring about ourselves. And I'm a person who tries to take care of myself, and it takes forever. Like, I'm in my early 30s now, and I just started taking care of my beard. And that's when it really hit me of how slow we are as men to sometimes do these things. I was in my teenage years when I thought maybe I should take care of my hair. I honestly didn't shampoo it for like 3 years. Someone said that was healthy, and no, it's not. Girls don't like that. So my late teens figured out hair, and then my early 20s, I started thinking maybe I should wear clothes that fit me, that complement my body. So I'm in my early 20s. Late 20s, I start figuring out maybe I should work out to take care of my body overall. And then I'm in my early 30s, and I think maybe I should get a face routine. Maybe I should start washing my face a bit more. Early 30s again. Maybe I should take care of my beard. Like, maybe it'll look better. Why did it take me to my early 30s to put all these things together? How much better my life would have been if I did these things a while ago. If I did these things years ago. If I did all these things in my late teens, I wonder how much better off I would have been. So you got to take care of yourself physically. Make sure to work out. It sounds so basic. Wash your face, wash your hair, dress for your body type. And again, it sounds really basic, but I wasn't doing those things. And I think a lot of men in my position are not doing those things as well. And, you want to talk about taking care of your mind. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge news junkie. I'm a huge music junkie. I listen to tons and tons of, I think in my life, I've listened to over 500 albums. And I'm reading news every day, listening to interesting economics podcasts because you got to be really stimulating. I used to read The Economist and just read it cover to cover because it was cheap. It was kind of free for people who were in financial planning like myself because they just want it to look anyway. But you read it cover to cover, and then you have interesting thoughts and interesting things that you can say. Like, I remember someone was talking about the Pakistani elections, and I was like, oh, I actually know a lot about this. Who the hell am I talking about elections in Pakistan, man? What a weird thing. Anyway, take care of your mind. But the mental health is still the aspect that I think I struggle the most with. You can read interesting things. You can have cool ideas. You can read interesting writers. You can listen to amazing music or listening to interesting economics podcasts. But I found that mental health is the thing that I've struggled with the most. Arguably, at my life right now, I'm at the best point it's ever been. Like I was talking about, I was traveling to tons of different countries in the last couple months here. I'm having cool vacations. I mean, I have great relationships in my life. It was summertime, it's weather, and I still struggle. I have a really great job too. I don't know if you know about that. But I still struggle very much with my mental health. And traveling back to Canada didn't help. But if you have any advice on how to handle things with mental health, like, let me know. Going back to Canada and seeing my family, that wasn't an easy thing at all. Seeing, like, I left my family in this state and then I came back to them and they're in a much worse state. Like, that's difficult. But yeah, it's one of those, like, there's nothing you can do seeing your family like that. And my family has always had the philosophy that the younger people shouldn't sacrifice their youth to take care of the older people. So they said, like, no, don't feel any guilt, don't feel any hardships, don't feel any regrets. No one wants you to stay here and take care of, your family. And, you know, other families are going to have different ideas, and other families, that may not be right, that may not be wrong. Every family is going to have a different idea on that attitude. But yeah, on mental health, like, I am worried that maybe it's not getting worse. Sorry, it's not getting better. So I don't know. If you have any advice on mental health and like how to handle things and how to move forward on things, let me know, because I am all ears. Look, I work out. I used to journal, and I should do that more. And yeah, let me know what's going on. I've got some good meds now. God, what a difference they made. Oh, life with meds, so much better. But yeah, any advice on like being a man is not easy. Defining what you think a man is and masculinity. And these are tough things to navigate, and these are tough conversations. But yeah, mental health is something. If you don't, what I'm trying to say is, make sure to take care of your physical health as early as possible, make an effort, and do the same for your mental health, because that is something that I didn't do and I struggled with, and I'm still struggling with. So as early as possible, make sure to take care of your mental health as much as possible. So yeah, I massively appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sticking with me, waiting it out. Like, you folks are absolutely the best stuff, and yeah, absolutely awesome stuff. But yeah, let's get back into it next week, and we will cover some more kickboxing then. We've covered off a ton of matchmaking news. But yeah, folks, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Tim Wheaton, and I will see you on Monday on Fight Weekly on Low Kick MMA, and I'll see you again Wednesday on Kick Weekly here on Calf Kick Sports. Thank you so much, folks.